Inspired by the Victorian polymath John Ruskin's dictum of truth to nature, the new museum, a neo-Gothic pile of granite and limestone trimmed with sandstone, was designed to impress and instruct. 4 years earlier, in 1856, an Oxford professor named Charles Darwin told the BAAS membership that when completed, the museum's central court would serve as the sanctuary of the Temple of Science, intended to include all those wonderful contrivances by which the author of the universe manifests himself to his creatures. The rooms comprising the periphery of this grand space were for lectures and researches connected with all branches of physical science, and may represent the chambers of the ministering priests engaged in worshipping at her altar and in expounding her mysteries. The completed exhibition hall was illuminated by natural sunlight, thanks to a heavy glass and iron roof, which, in its first iteration, almost crashed to the ground. Learning from their structural miscalculations, the architects made sure the second version was fully supported by a battalion of cast-iron pillars and arches. The columns were ornamented with wrought-iron leaves, representing a metallic arboretum of trees found across the British Isles, from bush holly to the mighty oak. Aside from their weight-bearing nature, the pillars cloistered the main gallery into 3 wide aisles, accommodating the reassembled remains of woolly mammoths, whales and dinosaurs, along with rows of oak-trimmed glass display cases filled with fossils, rocks, taxidermized animals, and that rare bird, the dodo. The 2-story main court was bounded by a rectangle of 126 columns, each one composed of a different British rock, labelled with its identity and source. Sculpted into their capitals and corbels was a pre-Raphaelite wonderland of plants, demonstrating all the botanical orders. For accuracy, the stonemasons used specimens clipped from the university's botanical garden. Interspersed between the rocky columns and arches was a parade of marble statues lined up like Latter-day Saints, including Aristotle, Galileo, Bacon, Newton and Linnaeus, with a few empty niches that would eventually be filled with sculptures of some of the most eminent scientists expected to be present that morning. At the pinnacle of the museum's arched entrance was a bas-relief of an angel. In one hand she holds a Bible turned to Genesis, in the other a culture plate depicting a cell in the act of division and reproduction. Even Darwin, a Cambridge man to his core, contributed unwittingly to the building's facade. To the right of the portal is a capital adorning a first-floor window. Instead of a heraldic seal or a gargoyle, the masons carved a pair of 4-legged sea monsters with voracious mouths and long tails, affectionately known to this day as bear whales. This stony statement was a humorous reference to page 184 of The Origin of Species, in which Darwin playfully proposed what might happen if a race of bears ever took to living in the sea. I can see no difficulty in a race of bears being rendered, by natural selection, more and more aquatic in their structure and habits, with larger and larger mouths, till a creature was produced as monstrous as a whale.